Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. My name is Katelyn from Florals.com and today I am back with another episode of After the Glue Dries. We are very close to the end, which means I'll be talking about updates on my progress as well as showing you updates of some albums I've been filling and working on, and hopefully you guys enjoyed them. I will say, with the couple of weeks I have left with what I've deemed for this project to be the time span of working on this project and developing new habits, I've made significant progress. All of my low status, my low involvement layouts have been journaled and dated and glued, so that's good, except the ones I keep making. The problem is you can lay all these rules down, but as soon as you start making more, then you gotta keep up with it at the same time. So last month was pretty good. I've journaled on almost all of my layouts from last month, including dates when possible, so really excited about the progress I've made. I will, however, not complete and file away all of my layouts like I wanted to, and as several of you guys know, lots of stuff has been happening in the world and things have changed so much since I originally intended on doing this project, and in my life especially. So for today I thought it'd be interesting to show you guys sort of an ultimate progress update. So before I started this project, I did not have a 2019 album. I have not even scrapped all of 2019, but I now have a dedicated album for 2019. I have layouts in it, and these are fully done layouts. I'm talking about dates, journaling, fully glued, signed on the back, in order. And as you guys know, I am not a chronological scrapbooker, and nor do a majority of my albums have the layouts in chronologically. So this is a big step. I put them in chronologically right now. And we're going to talk about essentially filling in the gaps, looking at what you've scrapbooked already and what you might want to scrapbook. So for some tools, you'll want your album you want to go through. You might want a notepad or your actual photo library on your computer or some sticky notes to help you along with this process. And I'll share with you guys my tips and thoughts about starting to put layouts away in an album that's not, one, being scrapbooked chronologically, and two, that you're not sure what you have left to scrapbook with. So there's going to be made gaps on purpose to help us file away them easier later on, and we'll see how it goes. And if you're anything like me, and I consider myself a lazy scrapbooker just because it's a fun way for me to make fun of myself, this might be an easier way for you to help move your layouts into albums, just a quicker way to file them in the future. So setting yourself up for success in the future will be really important. So the album here is from Project LYFT. No idea what it's called, no idea when it's from. I'm sure it's not available anymore. I can't remember when I bought this. I can't remember where I bought it. My guess is Michaels. I've also found Project LYFT albums several other places, but typically Michaels is where I ended up finding them on clearance. The best pricing, so hit or miss for where you find albums. And if you guys have not seen updates previously, or you're not in my Patreon group, you might not know that I did just find some great album deals thanks to a Facebook thread I read about $10 albums at Michaels. Their Recollections faux leather albums, select colors were on clearance for $10. In my store, they were not marked. I had to scan them to figure out which colors were on sale, but you can also look in the app to see what colors might be available in your store that are on sale, but $10 is pretty good for an album. Normally, I'd like to pay a lot less, but there are also a lot more expensive options out there, especially depending on if you want the faux leather, these type that are like those soft print kind that already have dents and dings in them when you get them. Obviously a cheaper alternative, but hopefully will last a really long time. But for today, I thought we'd do a flip through of my 2019 album. Now, something I like to do with my albums is have extra page protectors in them. So here at the front, I have smaller ones. In the back, I have 12 by 12, I have pocket page, etc. Because sometimes I pull an album out and get inspired to fill in one of the gaps, and I just want to make sure that I have options available without having to go somewhere else. So I don't have an opener yet. The first page is actually a double page spread, and this is because these are the only two layouts I have from each of these months. So this is January on the left, February on the right, and I know you won't be able to see both in the shot here and that there'll also be some glare, but let's try to remedy that with a little stack underneath. And this is a tip if you're working on something and you find that you're getting glare from your lights. You might also be able to do this. It really depends on your setup, but sometimes just adding a little something under can help eliminate the glare as you go through. So I have January snow layout over here, February over here. But now that I'm looking at this, I don't know if this is actually the right date. I might have to double check that one. And this one says 2020. Guys, I am absolutely losing it. And I did just put these in here before this video, so we're going to pretend like that didn't happen. But mistakes are fine. This is why we go through our albums more than once so that we can continue. So now I have an extra one here. So when I like to go through my album, I usually start with one in the month and add extra spaces. I knew this wouldn't be my opener, so it's not going to be the first page of my album. To be honest, I'm not sure what I have to scrapbook from January, but if I did, I could make a note of it, make a list of it, whatever it might be, and that'll help you along in the future. Then we fast forward. We're in April now. Again, I am not a chronological scrapbooker. That is 1000% true. This one does say 2019. I think the rest are correct. That one must have just gotten shuffled in by accident because it's one of the only 2020 ones I've done, but nonetheless, I think it's important that you alternate where things are starting. I usually think of my layouts as a right base weighted layout. So generally when I'm making a design, I picture it in the right-hand side of an album, never the left-hand side, which is a very poor decision on my part. So when I'm filing through, I do like to alternate if they're in a left side or in a right side sleeve, depending on if I know there's something to go with it and how I actually plan that out. Otherwise, if they're single pages, I kind of try to mix it up a bit just so I don't. Sometimes a better one will come along for the right-hand side. So you want to make sure that the ones that are okay on the left stay on the left. So as we go through, then we move into May. Just one in here too. And a majority of these you guys have already seen. There's probably a playlist on my channel with them. Some more May here. This one's actually a double pager. And I've had several questions about this, so I thought I'd address it in this video, is what do you do when you have one pocket page that's done and the other side's blank? And if you guys haven't seen last week's episode, highly recommend. Essentially, I talk about if you have these left over in your album and you don't know what to do with them, how to fill them up, what to do with them, and all of the options that you can do with them. So if you're looking for some inspiration for your pocket pages that might be a little empty on the other side, you can check that out in the playlist down below. Also, I know this is upside down. That's how the card goes. But essentially going through the months here and leaving gaps. So I know I have more photos scrapbook between this day in Epcot and this day where I'm traveling for work. So that's pretty easy. And this one's actually interesting because these two right here were actually the first two I put in this album. And they were at the very beginning because obviously I didn't know where anything else was going to go. So I actually had to take these out and move them into here. And these are all from the same day. This one, the 8.5 by 11 and the 12 by 12. And I know there's more photos to scrapbook. Knowing this and knowing that I have a blank page here, I can take my list, write down anything from June 2nd, 2019 at Epcot. Could be an 8.5 by 11 to fill this space. Now that's if you're a good planner, if you're a good scrapbooker, you might already know what photo you have to go here. I actually don't know what photos I have left from this day, to be quite honest. And to be honest, they're in a different order. This was when we first walked in. No, it's not. This one is. Some of these are and some of these aren't. So this is when we were leaving. This is when we walked in. This is like midday. This is probably closer to end of day. That kind of stuff doesn't bother me, especially for theme park visits. One, it's very hard to remember anyway. And two, it really just depends on your style of how chronological you like to scrapbook. And none of these journaling pieces truly matter to a coherent story. They all just kind of collaboratively go together. So as we continue on, sometimes you'll find pages like this. And I do these because there's a big gap, or I know there's plenty more to come. So like I said, theme park, there's going to be more photos. So this was June 2nd. The next one's actually pretty close. This is June 4th. But I know that if June 2nd was a Saturday, which I think it might have been, there's more theme park photos probably for June 3rd. So I definitely know there's more that can go here. If not, easy to consolidate one to the other. You just take this one out, put it in here, and then we've consolidated a page. This one's interesting as well. So sometimes if dates are really far apart and I know there's more to go in there, I'll put them right next to each other because it's easy to slot another page protector in. But again, that's just my idea about it. Some people might just want to do them by month. Really depends on, one, your scrapbooking style. Do you scrapbook all the photos from an event together in one sitting, in one month, whatever it might be? Do you tackle them that way, or do you hop around like I do and just cover a million subjects in 1 month? Moving on, we then have June 22nd. So we're hopping from June 21st to June 22nd in one page protector, which I thought was decent, but then I left an empty page protector. Now, This is something I wouldn't normally do unless I have excess page protectors, which I don't, but I did it for this example anyway. And I left myself a sticky note to tell me what photo I wanted to go here. Now, I do have to recall this day back in my memory, so back on my photo roll and my camera roll to see when everything happened, but I believe we ate dinner here, and therefore we went to Animal Kingdom that morning, if I'm remembering the correct day that is. So I'm really looking. I also just noticed I have a misspelling in my journaling, but I can change some of the letters around so it doesn't look like I misspelled it. So that's something I have to do later. But if you want to remember what photo you want to go next to what page, a little sticky note can go a long way. You'd be surprised how well sticky notes have treated me over the years. It's like, oh my gosh, I forgot about that. Definitely a good idea. Then we move on to June 28th. Again, probably a lot happened in here. And I know, guys, it was only last year. I should probably remember what happened. But that was a busy month. That's when we were kind of settling into Florida. And then June 29th, again, this day will probably have a lot to go with it because this is the day we bought our annual passes for Universal. Lots going on in 2019. Then we have a beach day in July. These were on the same day, clearly very different themes. So these were both July 7th. We went putt-putt. We went to a nature preserve drive thingy, and that's what these pages are about. I didn't print any more from this day. There are more photos from both of these, but these are the only ones I printed, so I don't have to worry about anything going in between. However, if you're somebody who is like, I want to do something special with one of these photos, like say you did a whole collage and you're like, I want to pull one photo out. Tiny inserts are your best friend. 6x8, 8.5x11, those 4x6, there's so many different sizes, but small photo pocket page inserts are your favorite for highlighting photos. It just gives it, it's its own whole thing just to flip. You know, it's an extra piece to the puzzle, but it can really add that sense of importance in highlighting a specific photo. This is a recent double page layout that I did for July 2019. And then lastly, I have this oldie but a goodie. This is again before we moved and back in New York, little kitty cat photo. Oh, so cute. 8.5x11. So this is a reminder to me that if anything around August 2019, I need an 8.5x11. So in the back here again, more page protectors, pocket page, etc. I just like having them in there, and it helps spread the weight around for other albums that are holding page protectors. But that's my album so far. Again, completely empty before this month started. Well, before this series started, rather. And that's what we call progress. All of them had dates. All of them had journaling of some sort. And they're all in an album, which again is highly unlike me. So the habits I have learned over the past few months are pretty important. One, I need to read better because I pulled in a 2020 layout into a 2019 album, but mistakes happen. It's okay. I noticed spelling mistakes after the fact. You know, you notice things over the years, but that doesn't mean you have to change them every time. So get your sticky notes ready, get your iPad ready with all your photos on it, whatever it may be. Go through your album, see what's missing, see what you want to add, see where the gaps are or where you'd feel like it's good enough in terms of getting your story on paper right now. Because I know sometimes we're overwhelmed by the amount of stories we have, but if you get a chunk down from every year, that is a huge step in the right direction in terms of telling your life story. You don't have to tell every story every year, every day, but I know it'd be great if we could. But obviously time is not on our side for that matter because we can't all scrapbook all day, every day like we want to. But I hope you guys enjoyed this flip through and enjoyed seeing this beautiful album. I think this is the prettiest album and is perfect for 2019, representing the move to Florida and, you know, all the great things that happened that year. So if you guys did enjoy, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you haven't checked out the rest of the After the Glue Dries series, I'll have the playlist linked down below. I'll also have some educational resources linked down below of ways you can learn and take action for the Black Lives Matter movement, because there was a great New York Times article. If you have not read it yet, I'll have that linked down below, particularly pertaining to scrapbooking. And if you guys haven't read it, it's been all over Instagram and the Facebook groups, and it's highlighting some really talented ladies and people of the crafting industries that you guys just need to go check out if you haven't already. And I'll have that article linked down below again, as well as other actions you can take to help support the movement. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know if you have any questions as we approach the end of After the Glue Dries. I think it's been a huge success so far, and I know several of you were working on it with me. And for those of you who have been diehard journalers all along. I hope I am making you proud with all of these journaled layouts. It's definitely something I've been working on, and a fun thing, ever since I had my birthday back in July, I have journaled in a journal every day. So it's been, I think, 26 days so far, and I've journaled every single day, which is helping me get better at figuring out my thoughts and feelings towards subjects before they hit the page. So I hope you guys, again, enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.